All right, today we are going to draw rainbow corn, and what you need is a black and a white crayon, some watercolor paints, and a paintbrush. So first we're going to draw the corn, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I want you to notice that corn has all of their kernels in a row, so we don't want to have wonky. They don't have to be the same shape, but they do need to be in a row. So first step is we're going to draw the top corn, and we're just going to draw a like oval with it's fatter and flatter on one end. So I'm going to draw my corn pointing this way with kind of a flat bottom like that, pointed top. Okay, and then we're going to add the corn husks at the end. And they're like big leaves, and they're going to go off the paper like this, and they come around and out like this. And it doesn't really matter how they go, but we want them to kind of all come out of the bottom of the corn, kind of like that. Okay, now we're going to do two together, so I'm going to draw another one underneath, and the back end of it is going to be up here. So I'm going to make it wider this way, and when I get to the corn, I'm going to imagine hop over, and there's the other part, hop over, so it's like a cross. And then we're going to have the leaves on the back of this one too, or the husks, and they come out of the bottom, kind of wavy, like random, doesn't matter exactly how they come out, but kind of like that. And then at the bottom of each one, I'm going to draw some lines that show me that they're growing out of the, okay, and they grow down. These are like the seams in the ends of the husks, just like that. All right, and we're going to leave that part. Now, I am going to draw some lines from here, like this, and I don't want the lines to be too skinny, because if you make a million kernels, it's going to be really hard to paint. But they all come from a point down to the bottom. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw lines the other way that curve towards the tip. So slightly curved like this. And notice they're about as wide as my finger. Okay. Now I'm not pushing real hard with the crayon yet. We will, but right now we're just gonna go like this, all the way to the top. Now, we want them to look like kernels and not just squares. So what I'm going to do is inside each of these, I'm going to draw curved edges, and they're going to touch. And this I'm doing with my black. Every single kernel I'm going to draw. And it doesn't matter if they're not exactly perfect, but this way they'll be in line. And we're curving the corners because corn kernels are rounded. And we're going to just do this for every single box. This is why not to draw a million boxes. You want your boxes to be kind of big. That way when you're drawing your kernels, you're not doing a whole bunch of teeny tiny little ovals here. Okay, now I'm going to do this to the whole thing, but then I'm going to go back, and in between where there's white spots, in between the kernels, I'm going to color black with my crayon in these little spaces in between, because you don't want to leave those white. all the shadows down in the grooves and along the bottom. And while you're doing this, you can pause the video until you have all of your little sections done. You want to make sure that this is the part where you are going to push hard with the black crayon, because you do want the black to be pretty dark in between the kernels. Okay, now once we've done this, you're going to do the other one as well, but I'm going to show you what the next step is. So we've colored in all the little black sections. Now you're going to take your white crayon and you're going to make the reflection on the kernels because they're curved. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to make a line on the top side, and it just curves along, and you want to push pretty hard for this. Now you won't be able to see this, but here's the line. This is what you're doing on every kernel. You're just drawing a line that curves along the top edge of every kernel. Okay, now this part takes a little bit of time too, and you can't see it while I'm doing it, but you will be able to see it when we start putting the paint in there. And it doesn't even have to be perfect, but it does need to be inside the kernels of each one. And you got to push hard because you want to make sure that it's on there. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, now once you have all of this done and you've drawn the kernels on the other one, you're going to add the watercolor. Now before I do that, I'm going to draw my lines. On here, curved. Then I'm going to go back and do the same kind of things. Now you want to make sure you have all the crayon done before you add the paint. Okay, so you need to finish the one in the back first, but I'm going to show you the next step. So you're going to pause while you finish doing all of that, then you're going to come back and put it back on. Once you have it all done, then Rainbow Corn has all multicolored all over. So you're going to want to make sure that you don't just slop on all of the colors next to each other. You're going to pick a color and then you're going to paint a few that color randomly around on your corn. Then you're going to pick another color and you're going to paint some of those and see how that shows up on when you have put the white on there. Now you have the reflection on your corn kernels, and you're just going to keep doing it, all different colors. So that when you're done, you have them all different colors. And you want blues and purples and greens and oranges, all the different rainbow colors, because it's called Rainbow Corn. And you just paint them, take your time. You don't want to have it too wet because then you'll get puddles all over. And you keep going until all of it is painted, trying not to paint the same color next to the other ones. Okay, once you've painted all of your kernels with whatever colors you have on the table. Oops, that was blue and orange. Not good. Okay. Okay, then you can paint your down here, this part. This is the husk, and you can mix your colors. Try not to do brown and I would just do stripes of different colors. Until we have all your now, if you just want to paint the husks green, that's fine too, because corn husks are green. If you want to paint it rainbow, that's fine too, because it is rainbow corn. And if you want it to match this, it's going to look like that. Okay, then you can go back, and in the background we can do the wet on wet technique. Now that is where you would take a paintbrush and you wet the paper, and then you just put stripes of color that will spread out. Like that. Ooh, that's cool. Then I'm going to add some orange and some yellow. And you don't want to mix them to, if you want it to have this like cool spreading look, then you just put the color on and you let the water spread around when you are ready for that. And then you keep going until it's all done here. Now, this is not completed, but this is what it should look like, or something like this when you are done. Okay, I can't wait to see yours.